Okay, and welcome back to Frontend Hero. So in the previous video, we have built this hero area. In this video, we're going to add this little section in here that will showcase our services. So there's nothing too fancy going on here. We do have a 3-column grid, some icons here to the left, and then we have this kind of background color here. So let's get this started now. So here is our hero area here that we previously created. And just below this, I'll create the new section called something like services, our services maybe. So we've got our services, and then we've got a heading here, the services we provide. So I'll pop this in now in a H2 tag. So I'll say services we provide. Okay. So there we are there. And now I'll create a little wrapper class and actually pop this H2 in here now. So there we are there. Everything's in line. Great. So we do have a grid built in our CSS. So let's have a look for that now. Okay, so we have a grid row. And let me see. And then we've got some grid spans. So let's create a little grid here now. So I'll say grid class is grid, oh, there we go, grid row. And it'll create a few children divs called service there, save that. So currently each service is using 1 column. As we need 3 columns here, we are going to change the each service to take up the room for 4 columns. So let's do that now. So service, and then what we can do in our style.css, we have these grid spans. And what I'm going to do is say service, and I can say span -4, save that real quick. And now if we look at this service here, now it takes up 4 columns. So really quick, I'm going to do this now. There's 3 services, and they take up the full width of the screen, which is 12 columns. So perfect. Before we kind of add any more divs in here, any more services, let's actually build the first one here so we can replicate it. So all we need to do is add a title, an icon, and some text here. For the moment, then we'll add in the background and then tweak the heading here. So first of all, let's tweak the layout. So let's say, actually, again, going back to our themify icons, let's have a look for star. So we have a ti-star class here, and let's use that. So we just need to say ti star. So service can go for the moment. Let's say span class is ti star. Close that off there. Save that. And what do we get? So now we have a little star there. So we already have our icon here. And now I'll just add a little content area called, again, content area. Same as our hero, but I will target it in the CSS just for this services area. So content area, and then we need a heading, and I'll give this a heading, maybe 3. First of all, I'll say accounting, and then some lorem ipsum in the paragraph text. So I can just copy and paste some up here. Just there. Okay, paste that in now. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. So what we should do first, actually before we progress any further, is to add this to our table of contents. And I'll say this is number 11, and it's a kind of block or component. And I'll say services, or our services. Yeah, so go back down again. You must know the kind of gist by now. We'll copy and paste the comment area, and we'll paste it in here and tweak it for a new area. So this is number 11. It's a block, and again, it's called our services. So I'll create the ID here. Or is it called our services? Our services, yes. Okay, so our services one-pix solid solid red. Okay, and there we go. So now I'm going to add another border here. So I'll target each individual service, and I'll say this is just called service. Okay, so get rid of the ID there and just call it service and remove the S. Yeah, just like that. Give it another border just so we can see what's going on. And there we go there. Great. Okie dokie. So now what we probably need to do is, let me see. So we've got a span. We've got our icon here, which is the Themify icon. We've got a content area. I'm probably going to make each service flex. Yep, just like that. And then each service will have a padding of maybe 1.6 rem. Save that. Or what we could do instead of making the padding on this service, because we do need to link these through to each section, let me tweak this a little bit. So in each service, I'm actually going to add in a link. So I'll wrap all the content inside of each service with an anchor tag. So save that for the moment and let's see what we got now. So now if we hover over each service, we can kind of click the whole thing. So now we need to move the padding from the service to the child, which is the anchor tag. So if I do that now, padding 1.6 rem. Now I can hover over the entirety of these service kind of divs here, and we can click everything. So we're not missing any area here at the very at the borders. So that's cool for the moment. 1.6 rem, maybe 2 rem. Let's see what we got there. Maybe we'll stick it at 2 rem for the moment. Now, obviously, because we're using the anchor tag to wrap everything, we do get these underlines here. So I'm going to remove them now. So text decoration, which is none. Save that. Cool. And we will need to tweak the colors a bit in a moment, but that's fine now. So let's inspect this services area here for the moment. I'll just temporarily remove the hero so we can see things a bit more clear. Okay, so you have a service, it is flex, okie dokie, and then we've got the anchor tag. Actually, we need to make the anchor tag flex now because we've added that in. So we're going to move this from here to the anchor tag, display flex. Again, we'll remove the hero here. Okay, that's great. Okay. So next up, I'm going to make the icon a little bit bigger. So currently it is, whatever it is, 1.6 rem, I think. So if I say 2 rem, and then if we say again 4 is probably the right number there. That looks okay. Yeah, let's do that. So service and the child, which is just a span tag. Let me see. TI-star, and I'll just say again font size 4 rem. Save that. Remove the hero again, and that's looking pretty good. Okie dokie. So looking at the color of the text here, it just looks like the default body text that we've got in our kind of general styles. Then we just need to color the icon and the heading. Okay, so first of all, we can do this with the icon. So we'll say color is the secondary color. Save that. And there it is there. Perfect. Next up, let me see. The heading text. Oh, we actually don't need to change that to color because we've done that in the previous video. We've created a global rule for all these headings here. So this is all right. We just need to probably change the size. So we can do that now. So in our typography area, currently we have styled the heading 1 tag and the paragraph tag. So this is the heading 3, but we also have a heading 2 here. So let's create these now. And all I'm doing is kind of, again, eyeballing it. So heading 1 is our largest font, and it is 3.6 rem. Then I'm just going to go down a bit and say heading 2 is probably maybe 3.2 rem. And bring this down to 4 rem for the line height. Let's see how that looks now. Not too bad, probably a little bit big. Let's say 3 rem for the H2. Yeah, I think that looks okay. And now let's create the heading 3 tag. We've got 3.6 rem, then we've got 3 rem. Let's go down to maybe 2.6 rem. And that's probably about right. Heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, 2.6, 3 rem, and then 3.6 rem. But actually what I'm going to do is carry on and create the H4 style. So copy and paste these. And H4 should probably be about 24 pixels, which is 2.4 rem. And with all these styles, I'm just literally playing around with the font size and the line height. I don't know what the line height is at the moment because I can't really see it too well. So creating all these kind of headings here, all these styles, I'm just eyeballing it for the moment, and then just kind of having a peek here in the browser. I will come back and revisit this area when I create a style guide. So what that means is I'm just going to go back and tighten up everything. Font sizes, styles, margins, stuff like that. But for the moment, this works just fine. So H4 is 2.4 rem, or maybe 2.2 rem. 2.2 rem, 2.6 and 3. Okay. Now, what I'm actually going to do is utilize this H4 tag here. And instead of H3, I'm going to say H4. See how that looks. Yep, that looks a lot better. Now I could obviously go into our CSS here and go into our services area at the bottom here. And I could tweak this service, H3 and then change the style. But it's not a big deal for me. H4 works quite nicely here, so I'm just going to leave it here now. Okay, so now we've got a H4 tag instead of a H3 tag. This heading has been styled nicely. We've got a colored icon here. Next up, we just need to kind of style this text here, or color the text, should I say. We do need to actually create a rule here for this. So I'll pop this down here, service, and I'll say P. And then I'm just going to give it a color of body text. Just like that. Yep, okie dokie. Now, we obviously have a bit of an issue still. The kind of padding is off here between the icon and the text. But with flex, what I can do is just say something like gap 1 rem, maybe 2 rem. Yeah, 2 rem seems to work fine. So I'll do that now. So 2 rem, and that's starting to look pretty good. If we have a look at our design again, yep, and our live site. Yep, I think that's okay. So I'm going to copy and paste these now, all these services, so we have a kind of full area. So I'll say service span 4. That's the one. So I'll copy and paste these. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for our 6 primary services. Save that. And that looks good. Okay, so let's carry on here. Now let's add in the background color. So currently it's this light background color here. So I'm going to add that into the parent, which is the our services area. And let me just have a look in our CSS real quick at our global styles, which is here. Do we have anything? So we have primary light. I think that's the color there. Okay, so index.html, I'm going to add a class in here for our services. And then I'll just say, we do have the global style, but we don't have a class for it. So we'll need to create that, which is here. Okay, no problem. So let me see, where can we add it in? General elements, utility classes. I think utility class is a good area here. So I'll just create a little section called global styles. Paste this in, just primary lights. And then I'll create a class called primary lights. Okay, oh, fix that. Okay, and then I'll say color is that color there. So now I need to differentiate this primary light color from the background color. So this is called, this will be called, actually primary light is probably a bit too light. Yeah, we probably don't need a text class for this. We will not. So that's fine. So what I'll say is I'll call this primary-lights-bg. Yeah, that's fine. And instead of color, I'll say background color. And I'll say var primary light. Okay, so I'm going to copy this new class that we've just created. That's going to reference the global style of the primary lights style here. And I'll paste this in here now and see what happens. So save. So this whole area has become light blue, just like our design. Okie dokie, great. Now we just need to probably style these the background colors here for each service. So let's do that. So each service will have a background color of just white. And now we can remove the border. So everything here is bunched up together. We can't see any kind of clearly defined gap, which on the design we do have. So let's add this in now. So let's see what we've got. So we've got a grid row here. And on the grid row, I need to check. I think we do have a class for the gap. So we have a gap call for rem. So let's have a look at this. So if I add in the class of gap, save that. And then we've got this guy here, which is a bit too big, I think. We probably just need a gap of 2 rem. So, well, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of modify that gap style. And I'm going to say the gap is actually 2 rem. If I need to alter it going forward, I can just create a separate class called gap maybe 2 or gap 4. But let's try this. So now we have a 2 rem gap, and that doesn't affect anything else, which is fine. So let's leave that there for the moment. Services we provide. Now we need to kind of tweak this little section here. So again, going back to the visual or the design, we do see we have quite a bit of kind of space around this section here at the top and the bottom. So all we need to do really now is to add a padding top and a padding bottom for these areas. And if we have a look at our design, we can kind of see it follows the same formula going down the page. For each block, there's a top padding and a bottom padding. So there's a bit of breathing room for all of these sections. So what I think I'm going to do is to create a global padding style for each section. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. If we need to tweak anything separately for each individual block, if we don't want any padding on them, we can kind of tweak them as we go. But I will create a global kind of style now, and I'm going to do that in, let me see, general elements, I think. Here's a pretty good area I can add this in. So what I can do is say something to the effect of, oh, actually, this should not be a div. This probably should be a section. So let's tweak that real quick. So I'll change that to section here. And then the closing tag. So there we go there. Perfect. So yeah, going back to the CSS and adding this padding in. I'll create a section here, and I'll just say something like padding top 4 rem and padding bottom 4 rem. Now, if I save that real quick, that looks good. It looks good here. It does not look good here because this is pulling in the style too. But as I said, we can kind of tweak specific sections as we need to, which we definitely need to tweak on this hero area. But for the moment, this looks pretty good for the services area. So what I'm going to do is go back in to our hero area and basically just say for this section, we don't want any padding 0, and that brings that back. Okay, so looking back at our design once again, I think this looks pretty spot on. Yeah, the fonts do need to be tweaked slightly, but I'm happy with this for the moment. Okay, so now we have a services area. Let's have a look here. Yeah, the margin needs to be tweaked a little bit, but again, we can do that in a future video. So I'm happy enough with this. Let's make it kind of work on mobile. So minimizing the window, we can see we do have a media query for 850 pixels. I'm going to tweak the media query for this breakpoint 2 for our services. Okay, so let's copy and paste another media query and paste it into our services area. So we'll say 850 pixels is fine. And at this breakpoint, we want all of these services to go into maybe 2 columns instead of 3. Yeah, I think let's do that. So we've got our grid row and then span 4. So I'm going to target the service here in our media query, and I'll say service span 4. So just service with the class, obviously. Service, and let's have a look at our grid. And we have this guy here, grid column span 4. So I'm just going to tweak this for this breakpoint, and I'll say grid column span 6 instead, which is 50% because we have 12 columns. Save that. And yep. That looks nice, kinda. We do need to tweak this section for some reason. And what's happening here? So we've got our grid row, and then we've got our services. Yep. So this hero area might be affecting things. Let's investigate. Yep. So breakpoint is here, and then all things go to pop. So hero, okay, let's expand this a little bit and see what's going on. Ah, I see, okie dokie. So hero area still has a height of 500 pixels. We definitely need to remove that, which we didn't do in the previous video. So let's say hero area height is auto. Save that. There we go, looking good. Yeah, so now 850 pixels breakpoint, we get 2 columns, and then it looks pretty good until maybe 650 pixels. So I think at maybe 650 pixels, yeah, I'm going to make them 100% or 1 column. We need to create a new media query, and I'll copy the previous one, create a new one there. And I'll say 650 pixels. I'll say the span needs to be 12. Save that and minimize that window. And there we go. So if I expand this now, full width. So we have top bar, header, hero, and now services, which looks pretty nice. And what I probably should do is to make these a little bit interactive just before we kind of wrap things up. So I'm going to do this now. So all I'm going to do really is once I hover over this area, just change the background color. So First of all, get rid of this this border, which we do not need anymore. And then I'm going to say service A hover. And I'll say the background color should be probably the secondary color, which is the blue. This guy here. So save that. Yeah, we probably need to add in a little transition for this this anchor element in the service area. So I'll say, well, actually no, we won't. We'll just search for it and copy it. There we go there. So transition all. Copy that, go back down again, and we'll say 0.2 second ease in, ease out for our transition. So now when we hover over, we get this nice kind of fade in effect. Now we just need to change the colors. So I think I'm going to do a wildcard. So I'll say service hover, and then I'll say all, and I'll say just change the color to white. And let's see what we get. Okay. So the text changes, but the icon does not. Let's see why. So the color is here. Yeah. So again, I've no problem adding in a little important declaration here. So I'll just say color all. Important. Check again, and boom. Yeah. Now a little bit more interactive. So yeah, that's this services area wrapped up for the moment. In the next video, we're going to create the client section. So pretty basic again, just a kind of row of logos here. Nothing too crazy. And then we've got the pricing table and so on. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks very much again for watching, and catch you guys in the next one.